Hello there, and welcome back to Sleepy Science Tales. Tonight, you drift across the quiet surface of our planet, feeling the slow turning of Earth beneath you, gently carrying you into a deeper and more peaceful state of rest. Take a slow breath in, let your shoulders soften, and let the weight of the day melt into the background. You're safe here, unhurried, wrapped in soft quiet as the world settles around you. Tonight's journey is about the story of the continents, those vast, seemingly permanent shapes beneath our feet, steady and familiar, yet born from deep time and slow forces that move far below our awareness. As you rest, you'll glide across each one, guided through their ancient origins, shifting paths, landscapes, and gentle mysteries. This will be a journey through the foundations of the world, told calmly and slowly, so you can relax, learn, and drift peacefully toward sleep. Imagine Earth forming in the early solar system, more than 4.5 billion years ago. Back then, the surface was molten and glowing, a churning sphere of liquid rock. Nothing like the continents you know today existed. Over millions of years, the planet cooled, a thin crust forming piece by piece. This crust cracked, shifted, and settled into enormous slabs of rock that floated on the softer, warmer layer below. These slow movements, tiny on a human timescale, but immense across geological ages, began shaping the first continental seeds. Every continent you know today grew from those early fragments. Picture the earliest continents as small islands drifting on a restless world. Over hundreds of millions of years, they collided, merged, and drifted apart again. Entire supercontinents came and went: Volbara, Columbia, Rodinia, and eventually Pangaea. Each one formed through the patient motion of plates, continents meeting and parting in a rhythm as old as the planet itself. From the quiet of your room, imagine watching this long cycle sped up, continents gliding like silent rafts, oceans opening and closing, mountains rising and slowly wearing down again. Let yourself settle deeper as the modern world comes into view, where 7 continents stretch across the globe, each one with its own character, climate, landscapes, and stories, yet all sharing the same beginning, born from molten origins, shaped by deep forces, and carried across the planet by the steady movement of Kimé, tectonic plates. From far above, the continents look still, timeless, but they're always moving. Africa drifts slowly north, Australia slides closer to Asia, the Americas ease westward, and the Atlantic Ocean widens every year. These motions are tiny, just a few centimeters annually, but they never stop. Beneath your feet, the world is always in a quiet, gentle journey. Now, drift over the ancient lands of Africa. Balanced across the equator, Africa stretches from warm Mediterranean shores to vast deserts to dense equatorial forests, and down into open savannas and cool mountain highlands. Its rocks are some of the oldest on Earth, with pieces more than 3 billion years old. These ancient foundations have shaped its landscapes, its plateaus, and its wide, softly rising terrain. Africa also holds the deepest roots of human history. Fossils in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa reveal long chapters of our species' journey, from early hominins walking upright to the first appearance of Homo sapiens. Imagine those early steps across quiet plains, migrations following rivers and shifting climates, tiny movements that eventually carried humans to every corner of the world. Gently drift eastward until the immense expanse of Asia unfolds beneath you, the largest continent on Earth. From the icy Arctic fringe to warm tropical seas, from the deserts of the Middle East to the vast forests and steppes of Siberia, Asia stretches across enormous distances. The Himalayas, tallest mountains on the planet, rise where the Indian plate pushes into the Eurasian plate. This slow collision, still happening today, lifts the mountains' tiny increments each year. Behind them sits the Tibetan Plateau, towering high above sea level, shaped by the same ongoing force. Asia contains every landscape imaginable: arid deserts, deep lakes, immense rivers, icy tundra, and humid rainforests. Lake Baikal in Siberia plunges deeper than any other lake on Earth, holding more water than all the Great Lakes combined. From Asia's vastness drift into Europe, small in area but rich in varied landscapes. From Scandinavian fjords carved by ice to the warm Mediterranean shores, Europe holds climates shaped by both land and sea. The Alps rise where Africa's slow push meets Europe, and to the north, the land continues to lift gently as it rebounds from ancient ice sheets. Quiet motions, ongoing even now glide west across the Atlantic until North America stretches beneath you. Its landscapes range from Arctic tundra to deserts, mountains, plains, and thick forests. The Rocky Mountains rise from long histories of uplift and pressure, and further east, the Appalachian Mountains stand as softened remnants of peaks that were once far higher. Along the western edge, the San Andreas Fault marks the slow sideways movement of two great tectonic plates, their gentle pressure occasionally releasing energy in short bursts. Continue drifting south into the warm regions of Central America and the broad sweep of South America. Along its western side, the Andes rise in a nearly unbroken chain, formed by the Nazca Plate sinking beneath the continent. High on the Andean plateau, ancient lakes and salt flats stretch beneath clear skies. To the north, the Amazon basin spreads out like a green sea, shaped by warm rain, deep soils, and a river system that carries more water than any other on the planet. Further south, the pampas form wide, fertile plains, and beyond them, Patagonia opens in cool winds and glacier-carved valleys. As you breathe slowly, imagine all these landscapes: old mountains, young volcanoes, wide plains, dense forests, and drifting coastlines, connected through the slow heartbeat of Earth's crust. The world beneath you feels steady, but it is always in motion, always reshaping itself with patient, quiet persistence. Drift now toward a continent that often feels peaceful and remote, a land shaped by ancient rock and open space: Australia. From high above, the land glows in warm tones: deep reds, soft golds, muted greens, all created by long ages of weathering and quiet heat. Australia is one of the oldest continental masses on Earth, built from ancient crust that has remained stable for hundreds of millions of years. Because it hasn't collided with other continents in a long time, its mountains are low and weathered, its landscapes wide and gentle, shaped more by erosion and climate than by uplift. The vast outback stretches across the interior, a place of dry deserts, rocky plateaus, and quiet plains. These landscapes formed as the continent gradually dried over millions of years, its interior far from the moisture of the coastlines. Imagine the slow sculpting of wind and rain, carving soft curves into ancient stone, creating gorges, mesas, and long, winding riverbeds that fill only after rare rains. Even the iconic red color of the land comes from iron-rich minerals, slowly oxidizing in the open air. On the eastern edge, the Great Dividing Range rises gently. Though not tall compared to the Andes or the Rockies, this long chain influences much of the continent's climate, catching moisture from the Pacific and feeding forests and rivers along the coast. To the northeast, the Great Barrier Reef stretches for thousands of kilometers, one of the largest living structures on Earth. It formed from billions of tiny coral organisms, each building upon the last over countless generations, creating a quiet, vibrant world beneath the waves. Australia's unique wildlife also reflects its long isolation. For more than 40 million years, the continent drifted alone, giving mammals, reptiles, and birds the freedom to evolve in their own direction. Kangaroos, koalas, wombats, platypuses, each one a reminder of how separation shapes life. As you imagine drifting above forests of eucalyptus and the soft curve of coastal bays, feel the calm, steady presence of a continent moving quietly northward, inch by inch, toward Asia. Now, let yourself glide south until the world grows colder and quieter, and a white, shimmering shape expands beneath you. Antarctica, the southernmost continent, vast, remote, and deeply still. Almost entirely covered in ice, it holds about 90% of the world's fresh water, locked in layers that reach more than 4 kilometers thick in places. Beneath the ice lies a rocky continent roughly the size of Europe and Australia combined, with mountains, valleys, and hidden lakes that have remained untouched for millions of years. Antarctica hasn't always been frozen. Long ago, it was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, sharing warmth with Africa, South America, India, and Australia. When Gondwana broke apart, Antarctica drifted south, slowly cooling as it moved over the polar region. Around 34 million years ago, temperatures dropped sharply, creating the first major ice sheets. Over time, these sheets grew, spreading outward in slow, powerful flows. Imagine ice forming layer by layer, snow falling softly, compressing into dense, ancient ice that remembers long cycles of the planet's climate. Along the coasts, enormous glaciers slide toward the sea, their movement almost imperceptible but constant. Icebergs break away with echoes that roll across the cold air, drifting into the Southern Ocean. Beneath parts of the ice sheet, hidden lakes remain liquid due to pressure and geothermal warmth. Lake Vostok, one of the largest subglacial lakes, has been sealed off from light for more than 15 million years. The world beneath Antarctica is quiet, isolated, and full of mysteries that scientists continue to explore. As the cold whiteness fades into the distance, drift north into the scattered islands of the Pacific, a region shaped by fire and water, tectonics and time. These islands are not a single continent, but they form one of the most geologically active regions on Earth. Here, the Pacific Plate interacts with many others, subducting, colliding, and sliding in long arcs that create volcanic chains and deep ocean trenches. The famous Ring of Fire curves around this ocean, producing earthquakes, eruptions, and new landforms in a slow, persistent cycle. Imagine the islands rising from the sea, built from repeated volcanic eruptions. Some grow into high, green mountains. The Hawaiian Islands, for example, formed above a deep hotspot where magma rises steadily from the mantle. Each island in the chain is older than the one behind it, as the Pacific Plate moves northwest over the stationary hotspot. Over millions of years, erosion softens these volcanic peaks, turning jagged slopes into rolling ridges covered in lush vegetation. Other island groups form where tectonic plates meet. The Philippines, Japan, Indonesia, New Guinea, each shaped by long histories of subduction and uplift. These regions are incredibly biodiverse, filled with plants and animals that evolved in isolation across remote islands. Picture the soft clouds drifting around tall volcanic peaks, forests spreading across valleys, coral reefs glowing beneath clear water, all shaped by a balance of heat, moisture, and tectonic motion. Now, float over the wider Pacific itself, the largest and deepest ocean basin on Earth. Beneath its surface lies the Mariana Trench, plunging nearly 11 kilometers deep. This trench marks where the Pacific Plate bends beneath the Philippine Plate, descending into the mantle. It is one of the most extreme environments on the planet, but still home to ocean life adapted to immense pressure and darkness. As you drift gently above this part of the world, feel the quiet, ongoing movement taking place beneath the water. The Pacific Plate continues to slide and shift, creating new islands, reshaping coastlines, and sending gentle ripples of motion through the crust. Let your breath slow a little deeper now, as the continents and islands settle in your mind as parts of one vast connected system. Each landmass, each island chain, each quiet stretch of coastline has been shaped by the same long forces moving beneath the earth. Mountains rise, weather softens them, rivers sculpt valleys and carry sediment to the sea, continents drift, oceans widen and close, and life adapts gently to each new form the planet creates. From here, our journey continues deeper into Earth's long cycles, exploring how these slow motions have shaped the world we know today, and the quiet changes still unfolding beneath us. As you continue drifting in this calm, steady space, imagine the continents as living parts of the planet, never fixed, always responding to deep forces that move with slow, patient strength. The world beneath you feels solid, but on geological timescales, it behaves almost like a fluid. Rock bends, plates shift, and the entire surface of Earth gradually rearranges itself in patterns that repeat again and again through deep time. Let your thoughts settle into this slower rhythm, a rhythm that shaped ancient supercontinents long before the modern ones ever existed. Picture a world where all the land on Earth was once gathered into one enormous mass, Pangaea. Around 250 million years ago, it formed a single, continuous continent that stretched from pole to pole. Imagine standing on that ancient land, with vast interior deserts, enormous river systems, and coastlines unlike anything we see today. Oceans gathered around its edges, and deep within its interior, climates swung between extremes as seasons changed across huge expanses of land. But even Pangaea was not the first of its kind. Before it, other supercontinents formed and broke apart in long cycles. Rodinia, Columbia, Kinauland, and even older ones hinted at in ancient rocks. Each followed the same slow pattern. Continents drifting together over hundreds of millions of years, merging into a single mass, and eventually tearing apart again as tectonic forces pulled them in new directions. This supercontinent cycle has shaped not only the land, but the oceans, the climate, and even the evolution of life. Now, imagine Pangaea beginning to fragment. Deep beneath the crust, rising plumes of hot mantle rock weakened the land, causing cracks to form. These cracks spread slowly, separating continents that had been joined for millions of years. The Atlantic Ocean began to open, splitting what would become Africa from South America, and later, North America from Eurasia. The Indian subcontinent broke free from Gondwana, drifting north across the ocean until it collided with Asia, creating the Himalayas in a long, quiet rise that continues today. As you drift deeper into relaxation, picture these movements sped up just slightly, continents gliding like slow, silent ships across the mantle. They never rush, never pause, always drifting at a rate comparable to your fingernails growing. Yet these tiny distances accumulate, shaping mountains, oceans, and climates across the planet. Imagine Africa slowly moving northward even now. Over millions of years, it will continue its gentle journey until the Mediterranean Sea narrows, perhaps closing entirely. Southern Europe may rise into new mountain ranges, shaped by the same pressure that built the Alps. Far in the future, Italy could collide more deeply with the European mainland, and the long arc of the Mediterranean coastline may change into something entirely new. Australia too is on the move, drifting steadily towards Southeast Asia. Over tens of millions of years, its northern edge may collide with island arcs there, creating new mountains and reshaping coastlines. The gentle continent you floated over earlier is not fixed, but part of a long, slow story of motion. Even the Atlantic Ocean, so wide and serene from above, is still opening. New sea floor forms along the mid-Atlantic ridge, a long volcanic seam where magma rises and creates new crust. As this crust cools and spreads outward, the opposing continents drift farther apart. The Americas move west, Europe and Africa move east, and the ocean widens by a few centimeters each year. Let your awareness soften as you picture these forces, silent, steady, patient, shaping the world beneath you. There is no hurry in the movement of continents, only a gentle persistence that continues across ages. Now, shift your mind toward the deep history hidden beneath each continent. Every region carries memories of long-lost environments, ancient mountain chains, vanished seas, and climates that changed many times. The rocks beneath your feet hold these stories like pages in a very slow book. Africa, for example, contains some of the earliest evidence of stable continental crust. Parts of the Kopfol Craton in southern Africa have remained intact for more than 3 billion years. Imagine the age of that rock, older than complex life, older than plants, animals, insects, or anything familiar. It formed when Earth itself was young, under skies without oxygen, shaped by volcanic activity far greater than anything seen today. Asia holds the remnants of many ancient terrains that collided and merged over time. The vast Siberian craton, the bogs that make up Mongolia, the fragments that drifted from Gondwana into Southeast Asia, all came together in long sequences of collisions. These pieces fit like a jigsaw puzzle with edges worn by time, each carrying its own geological and biological history. Europe's rocks also tell of ancient collisions. The Caledonian orogeny, an old mountain-building event, joined parts of Scandinavia, Scotland, and Ireland long before the Atlantic existed. Later, the collision between Africa and Eurasia raised the Alps, and before that, older mountain chains rose and eroded away, leaving behind gentle hills and rolling plains. North America holds a quiet, ancient core as well. The Canadian Shield, stretching across the northern continent, contains rocks more than 2.5 billion years old. These rocks once formed high mountains, but over immense spans of time, they were worn flat by wind, rain, and ice. During the last ice age, glaciers more than 2 kilometers thick swept across the land, carving lakes, shaping basins, and depositing soil. As the ice melted, the land slowly rose again, just as it still rises in northern Europe. Now let your mind glide down into South America, where the ancient rocks of the Guiana Shield and Brazilian Shield form the backbone of the continent's northern interior. These regions are older than the Amazon rainforest covering them today. They once stood as tall mountains, but ages of erosion softened their peaks, creating tepuis, flat-topped, dramatic plateaus that tower above the forest. These isolated highlands have sheltered unique species for millions of years, creating ecosystems unlike anywhere else on Earth. Drifting further in your imagination, return gently to Australia, whose interior also rests on one of the oldest continuous pieces of crust. Its rocks remember climates that shifted from forests to inland seas to deserts as the land moved northward. Fossils in Central Australia tell of giant ancient lakes filled with life long before the outback became arid. And far to the south, Antarctica holds a secret story beneath its ice. Before it froze, it was covered in forests. Fossilized tree trunks have been found there, along with remains of plants and animals that lived in milder ages when the continent was warmer and connected to others. Imagine a green Antarctica, rivers flowing through valleys, dinosaurs walking across its land, long before ice claimed the region. Allow yourself to drift even deeper now, feeling the quiet unity of Earth's continents. Each one holds its own landscapes, its own history, yet all are part of a single planet shaped by deep, steady processes. The world beneath you is ancient, ever-changing, and profoundly connected. Imagine now that you are gliding slowly above the entire planet, drifting between the continents with the same quiet ease as the clouds. The world turns gently beneath you, and every movement, every shift, every change across deep time feels like part of one slow breath. In this calm place, you can let your mind wander across the hidden systems that shape the continents not only from below, but from above, through the air, the water, and the long rhythms of climate. Continents do not exist alone. Their shapes influence ocean currents, their mountains steer winds, and their positions decide where deserts form and where rain falls. As you relax a little deeper, imagine Earth's atmosphere flowing softly around each continent, like a thin, shimmering blanket. High mountains interrupt this flow, lifting moist air upward, creating clouds, storms, and snow. Deserts form where dry winds descend, warmed by compression, spreading across thousands of kilometers. Forests thrive where rain is frequent, nurtured by cycles that begin far away, over wall motions. Picture the towering Andes along South America's western edge. They are so tall and so long that they redirect entire air masses. When moist Pacific winds rise along the slopes, they cool, condense, and release rain. By the time the air crosses the peaks, it descends into the eastern side as dry, warming wind. This creates the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth. Meanwhile, the Amazon rainforest to the east receives its moisture from warm Atlantic waters and recycled humidity from the forest itself, creating a vast, self-sustaining cycle of rain and growth. Now drift toward Asia's monsoon regions, where the continent's immense size creates enormous seasonal winds. In summer, hot air rises above the land, drawing in moist air from the ocean, creating months of heavy rain. In winter, the land cools faster than the sea, reversing the winds and spreading dry air outward. The Himalayas play a quiet but powerful role in this cycle, blocking wind from the north and shaping the path of the monsoon. Imagine those long mountain walls standing like silent guardians, influencing the rhythm of entire seasons. As you relax further, picture Africa's great climatic contrasts. The Sahara, stretching across the north, is shaped by long-term shifts in Earth's orbit and tilt, as well as steady patterns of wind. Thousands of years ago, the Sahara was green, full of lakes, rivers, and wildlife. These humid periods returned again and again as Earth's position changed slightly, altering how sunlight fell on different parts of the world. The continent has breathed through cycles of dryness and greenness, each one leaving quiet traces in ancient riverbeds and lake sediments. Now floats softly across Europe, where ocean currents play a major role. The warm Gulf Stream drifts across the Atlantic, carrying energy that keeps winters mild and landscapes lush. Without this gentle flow, Europe would be far colder, more like the snowy regions of Canada at similar latitudes. Imagine that warm ribbon of water moving silently across the ocean, influencing climates thousands of kilometers away, shaping forests, farmlands, and coastlines. North America, too, has its atmospheric rhythm. The polar jet stream, fast, high-altitude winds, sweeps across the continent in long waves. As these waves shift north and south, they bring warm spells, cold fronts, storms, and calm periods. Mountains like the Rockies guide these air currents, shaping regional climates. Further south, The Gulf of Mexico feeds moisture into the central plains, creating thunderstorms and vast systems that can travel for days. As you drift over Australia again, picture how its isolated position shapes its climate. With no large mountains blocking the winds, dry air from the interior meets coastal moisture in gentle, shifting patterns. Cyclones form over warm waters to the north, bringing rain to tropical regions, while the interior remains dry for long stretches. Over millions of years, these cycles helped shape the vast deserts at the heart of the continent, as well as the unique ecosystems along its coasts. Even Antarctica influences the global climate. Its bright, icy surface reflects sunlight, helping regulate Earth's temperature. The cold air above it sinks outward, forming winds that shape ocean currents around the pole. These currents move like a slow, powerful river encircling the continent, connecting with waters from the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. Through these motions, Antarctica plays a quiet role in balancing Earth's climate system. Let yourself imagine the continents not just as shapes on a map, but as shifting parts of a living Earth, influencing and responding to one another through air, water, and time. The world is full of slow, interconnected rhythms, each one shaping the landscapes you see today. Now, drift into the quiet world beneath the oceans, where the edges of continents hide deep secrets. Submerged beneath shallow seas, continental shelves stretch outward before plunging into the depths. These shelves, wide, flat extensions of the continents, were once dry land during the ice ages, when sea levels were far lower. Humans and animals walked across regions that are now underwater, their paths lost beneath layers of sand and quiet currents. Imagine the Bering Land Bridge between Siberia and Alaska, exposed during colder ages, allowing humans and wildlife to cross from Asia into North America. Imagine the shallow seas around Southeast Asia, called Sundaland, forming a single vast landmass that connected many islands into one. As ice melted and sea levels rose, these landscapes disappeared beneath the water, leaving the scattered islands we see today. The continents expanded and contracted with the climate, breathing in long, slow rhythms over tens of thousands of years. Now, drift deeper, along the continental slips, where the seafloor begins to descend sharply into darkness. These slopes carry sediments from rivers and erosion, building underwater fans that stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Further down, at the base of the continents, lie deep ocean basins, shaped by seafloor spreading and the slow creation of new crust. At mid-ocean ridges, magma rises from the mantle, forming new rock that pushes continents apart. Along subduction zones, older crust sinks back into the Earth, completing the cycle. These underwater processes influence the continents just as much as the forces above. Earthquakes ripple through the crust, sending quiet vibrations across land and sea. Volcanoes erupt along plate boundaries, building new islands and reshaping coastlines. Over millions of years, continents shift position, changing the flow of ocean currents, altering global climate patterns, and even affecting the evolution of life. As you breathe gently, imagine Earth's surface as a single interconnected system. Continents drift, oceans open and close, winds shift, and climates change in long, patient cycles. Nothing is fixed, nothing is truly still. And yet, in this slow, continuous motion, there is a profound sense of stability. The planet moves at its own pace, unhurried, steady, and always finding balance. Now, let your attention fall toward the deep interior of the Earth, where the true engine of continental motion resides. Below the crust lies the mantle, a thick layer of hot, slowly flowing rock. Though solid, it behaves over immense spans of time, almost like a fluid. Heat from the core rises upward, creating convection currents that move the tectonic plates. Imagine these currents as gentle, swirling patterns, guiding continents along like rafts on a vast, slow-moving sea. Hotspots form where plumes of heat rise straight from deep within the mantle. These plumes create volcanic islands like the Hawaiian chain, and sometimes break apart continents from below. Meanwhile, cooler, denser sections of crust sink into the mantle at subduction zones, pulling plates along in their slow journey. These processes have continued for billions of years, shaping the continents and the oceans again and again. Let your mind rest in this slow motion, feeling the quiet heartbeat of the planet beneath everything. The continents are not static. They wander, collide, separate, and drift, always reshaping themselves through deep time. Every coastline you know today, every mountain range, every plain, forest, and valley is the result of these long and patient forces. And as the Earth continues this journey, new supercontinents will eventually form. Far in the future, Africa may merge with Europe, Australia may join Asia, and the Atlantic may one day begin to close. A new landmass, sometimes imagined as Pangaea, Proxima, or Amasia, may rise from the merging continents. But all of this will happen slowly, gently, over hundreds of millions of years, far beyond the span of human lifetimes. The continents are ancient, but they are alive with motion. In this quiet moment, drifting above them, you can feel that slow, serene rhythm, steady as a pulse, soft as a breath. Imagine now that you are drifting closer to the surface of the continents themselves, not high above them, but gliding slowly over mountains, plains, coasts, and quiet valleys. As you move, each continent reveals another layer of its long story, its landscapes, its past environments, and the quiet patterns that shaped life across millions of years. Begin with the mountains, those tall, ancient sculptures created by the meeting of continents. When plates collide, rock bends and folds, rising upward in long, slow arcs. The tallest ranges, like the Himalayas and the Andes, are still young in geological terms. Their peaks are sharp, ridges steep, valleys deep, all signs that erosion has not yet softened them. Imagine running your mind gently along the spine of the Himalayas, tracing the sharp ridges of Everest, Lhotse, and Makalu, peaks that form from the collision of India with Eurasia. Their height continues to change, rising slightly each year as pressure below lifts them upward. Then drift toward the older mountains of the world, the Appalachians in eastern North America, the Scottish Highlands, the Ural Mountains stretching through western Russia. These ranges were once as tall as the Himalayas, but time has worn them smooth. Wind, water, ice, and countless seasons have softened their slopes, rounding their peaks and turning them into calm, rolling ridges. These old mountains whisper the memory of ancient collisions long before humans appeared, long before the continents took their modern shapes. Now imagine gliding down into the great plains that stretch across many continents. In North America, the Central Plains run from Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico, shaped by ancient seas that once covered the region. These plains are made of deep, fertile soils, washed down from the Rocky Mountains over millions of years. In South America, the Pampas offer vast grasslands under open skies, formed by layers of sediment carried by wind and water. In Africa, the Serengeti stretches softly across the continent's east, its grasses moving gently in warm breezes, shaped by nutrient-rich volcanic soils and long cycles of rain. Plains like these form through balance, uplift from mountains, erosion from rivers, and steady deposition of sediments. Over immense timescales, they become some of the most stable landscapes on Earth, wide and open, shaped by slow forces that act in harmony. Now drift toward the coasts, where continents meet the oceans in endless shapes. Some coastlines are smooth, formed by gentle erosion and rising sea levels. Others are jagged, carved by glaciers or broken by tectonic uplift. The fjords of Norway, steep and deep, were carved by massive glaciers that once filled entire valleys. The cliffs of Western Ireland reveal ancient layers of rock shaped by long-gone seas. The eastern coasts of the Americas, smoother and less dramatic, tell the story of a quieter edge, far from active tectonic boundaries. Coastlines are always changing. With every tide, every storm, and every shift in sea level, the boundary between land and ocean moves. In the last ice age, sea levels were more than 100 meters lower than today, exposing vast areas of land that are now submerged. Coastal plains expanded, rivers extended farther outward, and animals, including early humans, walked along shores that no longer exist. As the ice melted, oceans rose, flooding valleys, creating islands, and reshaping the continent's edges. Let yourself drift into the rivers now, flowing gently across each continent like soft veins guiding water toward the sea. Rivers shape landscapes more than almost any other force. The Nile flows north across deserts, carrying life into regions that would otherwise be barren. The Amazon winds through rainforest, gathering countless tributaries into a mighty flow that carries sediment from the Andes across thousands of kilometers. The Mississippi traces its long path from northern plains to the warm Gulf, a slow-moving system that shaped fertile deltas and wide basins. Every river carries pieces of mountains, grains of soil, fragments of stone, all slowly transported toward the ocean. Over millions of years, rivers carve canyons, floodplains, and estuaries, reshaping continents in gentle, persistent motion. Imagine drifting slowly along one of these rivers, feeling the calm pull of water, the smooth curves of each bend, the quiet connection between mounting peaks and the distant sea. Move now into the deserts, vast regions shaped by dryness and wind. The Sahara in Africa, the Arabian Desert, the Gobi in Asia, the Great Victoria Desert in Australia, each formed through a combination of towering mountains, ocean currents, and global wind patterns. Deserts shift and change over time, dunes migrating with the wind, dry lakes filling and emptying across ages. Some deserts were once oceans, others were once forests, but climate and continental position transformed them into wide, shimmering expanses of sand and stone. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine drifting over dunes at sunrise, long shadows stretching across rippled sand, the air still and cool, the land beneath you shaped by ancient cycles. Even in these seemingly empty regions, the continents hold deep stories of change, hidden beneath layers of sediment. Now drift toward the forests of the world, places where climates, soils, and geology come together to create rich ecosystems. The Amazon, dense and humid, grows on land shaped by repeated floods and ancient sediment. The Congo Basin in Africa, another vast rainforest, stretches across a region of stable Creighton rock, where rainfall has remained abundant for millions of years. The boreal forests of northern Asia, Europe, and North America grow across cold, flat lands left behind by retreating ice sheets. And the temperate forests flourish where rainfall is steady, where soils are rich, and where seasons move in gentle patterns. Forests, like continents, are shaped by time. They expand and retreat as climates shift, creating new habitats and allowing life to adapt in slow, branching paths. As you drift deeper into relaxation, imagine rising once again above all the continents, seeing them not as separate places, but as one continuous tapestry. Each region influences the next. Air flows cross oceans. Currents warm and cool entire coastlines. Mountains redirect winds. Deserts shape atmospheric patterns that reach into distant lands. The entire planet moves in connected rhythms, slow, balanced, and steady. Now, shift your awareness slightly downward, toward the crust beneath your feet. Imagine standing anywhere on Earth and knowing that below you lies a thin layer of solid rock, floating on the mantle. This crust varies across continents. In some places, it is thick and ancient, composed of stable shield rock. In others, it is thinner, formed by volcanic activity or shaped by long-lost collisions. Every continent has its own geological personality, its own structure, its own quiet architecture. Beneath Africa, the crust is thick and stable, anchored by deep cratons that have survived since Earth's early years. Beneath Asia, the crust is complex, built from countless fragments that collided and welded together over immense spans of time. Beneath the Americas, the crust changes from old shields to younger mountain belts, each layer holding its own history. Beneath Australia, the crust is ancient and calm, shaped by long isolation. And beneath Antarctica, the crust hides beneath kilometers of ice, revealing mountains and valleys through subtle measurements and satellite imagery. Imagine now drifting deeper, down into the mantle below. Though you cannot see it, this slow-flowing layer is what drives the continents across the planet. It moves in cycles, rising where it is hot, sinking where it cools, pushing plates along like slow-moving rafts. These motions are subtle, gentle, and constant. They have shaped every continent, every coastline, and every mountain on Earth. Let yourself rest with this image of Earth's deep interior, quiet, powerful, and steady. Beneath every continent, the same slow heartbeat pulses, unhurried and ancient. Now, imagine returning once more to the surface, drifting gently above all the continents together. The world feels calm, balanced, connected. Every landmass holds its own story, but all share the same origins, the same forces, the same slow motion through time. The continents have wandered for billions of years, and they will continue to wander long after our brief moment on this planet has passed. In this peaceful state, feel the gentle unity of Earth's surface. Every mountain, every river, every forest, every desert, all shaped by the same patient forces. The continents breathe through cycles of formation and change, always finding new balance, always transforming, always drifting in quiet harmony. Imagine now that you drift closer to the edge of time itself, floating through the long, slow story of how life and continents shaped one another. The land beneath your feet did not simply exist and wait for life to arrive. It changed because of life, and life changed because of it. As continents shifted, collided, and separated, species moved, evolved, and adapted. In this way, the drifting of the continents is also the drifting of life across the planet. Picture a world hundreds of millions of years ago, when the land masses were arranged in entirely different shapes. The continents were joined into large supercontinents, and life spread across them with ease. When those supercontinents broke apart, species diverged, isolated on newly separated lands. This is why certain animals are found in specific continents today. Marsupials, for example, those pouch-bearing mammals, are common in Australia and parts of the Americas because their ancestors once lived on Gondwana, the southern supercontinent. When the continents drifted apart, these species went their separate ways, evolving into the forms we recognize today. Imagine drifting over Madagascar, that large island off the coast of Africa. It has been isolated for nearly 90 million years, giving rise to unique species like lemurs, which exist nowhere else on Earth. This island, once joined to India and Africa, drifted away and became its own quiet world. Life there followed its own path, shaped by isolation and time. Now picture India, long before it collided with Asia. This fast-moving continent once drifted alone across the ocean, carrying forests and animals with it. When it struck the southern edge of Asia, the land buckled upward, forming the Himalayas and altering the climate of the entire region. New habitats appeared, ecosystems changed, and species adapted to rising mountains, deep valleys, and shifting weather. Life and geology danced together, each shaping the other. As you drift deeper into this quiet state, imagine Australia again, long separated from other continents. Its animals evolved in ways found nowhere else. Kangaroos hopping across grasslands, koalas living among eucalyptus forests, and monotremes like the platypus, laying eggs yet nursing like mammals. These remarkable forms exist because the continent remained isolated for tens of millions of years, like a quiet laboratory of evolution. Now move softly over South America, once joined tightly to Africa in the age of Gondwana. When they split apart, each drifted in its own direction, carrying with it the ancient forests and early mammals of that time. Over millions of years, South America became home to sloths, armadillos, and the mighty glyptodons of the past. It was isolated for so long that life there developed its own distinct rhythm, until the formation of the Isthmus of Panama reconnected it with North America. When the two continents joined, animals moved between them, reshaping their ecosystems in a long, gradual exchange. Let yourself drift into the oceans now, where island chains formed by tectonic activity become small worlds of their own. On islands like Hawaii, isolated species evolved into unique forms as they adapted to different elevations and climates on each volcanic slope. Birds, insects, and plants filled the landscapes, their evolution shaped by limited space and isolation. The continents themselves created these remote islands, and over time, the islands shaped the life that settled on them. As you breathe gently, imagine life responding to the slow rearrangement of land and sea. When continents split apart, coastlines changed, oceans widened, and currents shifted. These changes reshaped climate patterns, influenced rainfall, and guided the spread of forests, deserts, and grasslands. Life adapted, sometimes thriving, sometimes disappearing, always responding to the quiet guidance of continental drift. Now, drift toward the long rhythms of ice and warmth that swept across the continents. Over the past few million years, Earth experienced cycles of ice ages, when great sheets of ice grew and retreated. These sheets advanced across North America, Europe, and Asia, carving valleys, shaping basins, and leaving behind lakes and fertile plains when they melted. Imagine glaciers more than 2 kilometers thick, moving slowly like frozen rivers, sculpting the land simply through their weight and persistence. During these colder ages, sea levels dropped dramatically, exposing land bridges that connected continents. Animals migrated across them, humans too. When the ice melted, oceans rose, and these pathways disappeared beneath the waves. The continents remained in their places, but the routes that linked them changed again and again. Let yourself drift toward the idea that continents create opportunity. Every shift in land creates new habitats. Every collision raises mountains, forming pockets for new life. Every separation divides species and allows them to evolve differently. In this way, the continents are not just stages for life, but participants in its unfolding story. Their slow dances shaped evolution in ways subtle and profound. Now gently move upward again, as if rising through soft clouds, until the entire globe is visible once more. From here, you can see how the continents form a collection of shapes balanced across the blue sphere. Some stretch far north and south, others cluster near the equator. and some stand almost alone, surrounded by wide oceans. These positions are not random. They influence Earth's climate, its winds, its storms, and its currents. They create cold zones and warm zones, monsoon regions and deserts, fertile plains and frozen lands. Imagine how the tilt of the Earth, combined with the distribution of continents, creates seasons. Large land masses heat quickly in summer and cool quickly in winter, shaping atmospheric flows. Oceans, with their vast capacity to hold heat, regulate temperatures and guide winds. When continents block these winds or redirect them, new climate patterns form. Every region's weather, its rainfall, its typical temperatures, all trace back to the shape and position of continents. Let yourself drift along the equator now, a warm band that circles the Earth. Regions along this line receive the most consistent sunlight, creating dense rainforests, warm oceans, and humid climates. As you drift north or south, temperatures change. Forests give way to grasslands, then deserts, then cooler woodlands, and eventually tundra and ice. This gentle transition across latitudes is shaped by continental placement, ocean currents, and long-standing climatic cycles. Now imagine drifting toward the poles, where cold air settles and ice forms. Antarctica, covered in its ancient ice sheet, reflects sunlight back into space, cooling the planet. The Arctic, surrounded by continents, behaves differently. Its sea ice forms and melts with the seasons, interacting with northern land masses in a delicate rhythm. These polar regions influence global climate, guiding winds and ocean currents around the world. As you rest in this calm space, imagine the continents not as static shapes, but as participants in a very long conversation between land, water, air, and life. Everything on Earth is connected through these interactions. Winds formed in one region may drift across entire continents. Ocean currents may carry warmth from one hemisphere to another. And the continents themselves, solid and seemingly unmoving, respond gently to the slow but constant forces beneath them. Now picture Earth millions of years into the future. The continents will not look the same. Africa will move closer to Europe, changing the shape of the Mediterranean. Australia will continue drifting north, perhaps merging with Southeast Asia. The Atlantic, after widening for millions of years, may eventually begin to shrink. New mountains will rise. Old ones will wear down. Coasts will reshape. Forests, deserts, and plains will rearrange themselves as climates shift with the continents. In this slow, gentle motion, there is no rush, no urgency. The Earth moves at its own pace, unhurried and patient. And as you drift over the planet in this peaceful state, you can feel the deep stability beneath all this change. The continents continue their long journey, steady as a breath, shaping the world in rhythms that span ages. Their movement is the whisper of the Earth itself, quiet, continuous, and profoundly calming. Imagine now that you drift gently downward, closer to the ground again, feeling the presence of the continents not just as shapes on a globe, but as living landscapes filled with subtle textures. Mountains, plains, coasts, forests, and deserts all feel different when you glide above them. Each carries its own quiet atmosphere, its own rhythm, its own sense of time. As you move across these landscapes, imagine listening to the soft geological heartbeat beneath each region. Even the stillest place, an empty desert, a quiet tundra, a frozen plain, rests on a foundation that formed long before human memory. Beneath every continent lies a story reaching back billions of years, written layer by layer in rock, sediment, and ancient remnants of life. Drift first toward the shield regions of the world, the oldest parts of the continents. These are vast areas of exposed ancient rock found in places like the Canadian Shield, the Baltic Shield, the Amazonian Craton, and the Kopfol Craton of southern Africa. These rocks formed when the Earth was still young, shaped by volcanic activity far stronger than anything seen today. Imagine these ancient surfaces glowing with heat billions of years ago, cooling slowly, solidifying into the first stable pieces of continental crust. Over immense stretches of time, these rocks were buried, uplifted, eroded, and exposed again. Today, they form some of the flattest and most stable landscapes on Earth. When you drift above them, you are gliding over the core of the continents, the ancient heartbeats that anchor the land. Now move softly toward the places where continents are stretched thin. Rift valleys form where plates begin to pull apart, creating long, deep depressions in the Earth's crust. The Great Rift Valley in eastern Africa stretches thousands of kilometers, bordered by steep cliffs and volcanic peaks. Lakes fill parts of it, some among the deepest in the world. Imagine drifting along this long scar in the continent, feeling how the land is slowly separating, creating space for future oceans that may form millions of years from now. From these rift zones, drift toward the active boundaries where continents collide, places where the crust crumples and rises into towering mountains. You can feel the tension beneath the surface, the slow pressure building over ages, pushing rock upward into sharp peaks. Along the Himalayas, the land lifts by mere millimeters each year, but across millions of years, these tiny motions create heights that touch the edge of the sky. Now let yourself drift over volcanic arcs, chains of islands and mountains formed where one plate sinks beneath another. Japan, the Andes, the Cascades, the Philippines, all shaped by the same process. Deep below, the descending plate melts, feeding magma chambers that rise to the surface. Volcanoes grow, erupt, build layers, and sometimes collapse. Though these regions are active and powerful, they also create landscapes of great beauty, lush forests, fertile soils, and mountains that rise dramatically from the sea. As you move into a deeper state of calm, picture the continents not only as land, but as places where processes above and below meet. The atmosphere shapes the surface as much as the tectonic forces beneath. Rainfall carves valleys, wind sculpts dunes, glaciers grind rock into smooth basins. Continental shape and climate work together, slowly shaping everything you see. Consider the ice sheets that once covered much of the northern continents. They grew over thousands of years, covering regions like Canada, Scandinavia, Northern Europe, and parts of Russia. These great sheets of ice carved U-shaped valleys, created thousands of lakes, and left behind deposits that enriched the soil. When the ice melted, the land began to rise again, slowly lifting from the weight that had pressed it downward. Even today, parts of Scandinavia and Canada continue to rise by a few millimeters each year, a gentle reminder that the land is always adjusting. Drift toward the tropics now, where warm temperatures and abundant rain shape entirely different landscapes. Here, erosion works faster, rivers carve deeper channels, and vegetation grows in thick layers. Tropical regions often sit on ancient stable crust, allowing soils to form from long cycles of weathering. These soils, deep and red, tell stories of millions of years of rain carving minerals into finer and finer grains. Now imagine drifting toward the coasts where river deltas form. These widespread fertile regions like the Nile Delta, the Ganges-Brahmaputra Delta, and the Mississippi Delta exist because continents gather and release sediments in slow rhythms. Rivers carry material from mountains to the sea, depositing it where fresh water meets salt water. Over thousands of years, deltas expand and contract, shaping rich lands that support countless forms of life. As you drift with the shoreline, Imagine the quiet balance between land and sea. Some coasts rise through tectonic uplift, others sink under the weight of sediment. Some are carved by powerful waves, others sheltered by reefs and mangroves. These edges are always shifting, always responding to changing climates, sea levels, and interior motions of the continents. Now let your mind drift toward the deeper idea of continental stability and instability. Though continents feel firm beneath your feet, they float on a mantle that moves in long, slow currents. The thickest parts of continents, those ancient cratons, stand like roots, helping stabilize the land. Younger regions, like mountain belts and rift zones, are more dynamic, still adjusting to forces deep below. Imagine Earth's mantle as a slow, churning sea of heat. Hot material rises, cool material sinks, and these motions act like conveyor belts pushing the continents along. The movement is gentle, only a few centimeters each year, but across the history of the planet, these small distances become the growth and collapse of oceans, the rise and fall of mountains, the drifting of continents, across thousands of kilometers. Let yourself relax into the quiet certainty of these long cycles. Earth has been reshaping itself for billions of years, and will continue to do so for billions more. Every continent, every coastline, every mountain, every plain, all part of a long and peaceful transformation. Now imagine drifting again over the entire planet, watching the continents from a great height. Night falls across one side of the world, while daylight spreads across the other. City lights glow softly, tracing coastlines and rivers. Forests stretch in dark green shadows, deserts appear as pale, smooth expanses, and mountains cast long silhouettes across the land. The continents sit quietly on the surface, their slow drift imperceptible, yet constant. In this calm view, imagine all the continents joined not physically, but through the gentle connections of air and water. Winds carry moisture from oceans to mountains. Rivers return it to the sea. Heat rises from the tropics, then flows toward the poles. Cold air settles and drifts back the other way. The continents breathe together in these global patterns, like pieces of a larger whole. Let your breath follow this slow rhythm, inhaling as the world warms, exhaling as it cools, settling into the gentle cycles that have shaped Earth since its earliest days. You are drifting across a living planet, ancient yet always changing, stable yet always moving, vast yet full of delicate details. The continents beneath you are quiet giants, shaped by deep forces and long histories, and they continue their patient drift across the face of the Earth. In this stillness you can feel their motion, subtle and steady, guiding the shape of the world. Imagine now that you descend gently toward the continents once more, not to study their shapes or their shifting boundaries, but to feel the quiet relationship they share with the sky above them. The land and the atmosphere are partners in a slow, constant exchange, guiding weather, shaping climates, and sculpting environments across thousands of kilometers. As you drift over the surface, picture how the continents influence the winds. When warm air rises over heated land, cooler air from the ocean flows inward, creating breezes that carry moisture far into the interior. When the land cools at night, the process reverses, drawing air back toward the sea. These simple, daily rhythms exist because continents heat and cool faster than water, creating gentle movements that ripple across coastlines everywhere on Earth. But beyond these small patterns, there are grander flows, global circulations shaped by the size, shape, and arrangement of the continents. Imagine warm air rising near the equator, drifting high into the atmosphere, and sinking again in the subtropics. These great cells of motion, called atmospheric circulation cells, are shaped and redirected by continents. Mountains deflect them, deserts intensify them, and oceans weave them together. The continents guide the winds, and the winds, in turn, shape the land. Drift now toward the great deserts once more, but this time, feel the global patterns that support them. The Sahara, the Arabian Desert, the deserts of Australia, and the dry lands of the American Southwest all sit beneath descending branches of these global wind cells. Air falls gently, warms, dries, and spreads across vast stretches of land. This dryness is not random, but created by the position of continents beneath the global circulation. If continents were arranged differently, deserts would form in new places, and forests would grow where sands now stretch. Now imagine drifting toward the equator, where heat is strongest and rainfall is abundant. Here, rising air cools and forms clouds that release heavy rain, creating rainforests across South America, Central Africa, and Southeast Asia. These regions share a deep connection made possible by continental placement. If large landmasses did not straddle the equator, these vast humid forests would not exist. The continents and the atmosphere shape each other, creating patterns that repeat through the ages. As you float deeper into this calm thought, imagine the long-term climate cycles that move across the continents over tens of thousands of years. Earth's orbit shifts slightly. Its tilt changes. Its distance from the sun varies. These slow cycles, Milankovitch cycles, affect how sunlight falls on different regions. Sometimes northern continents receive more summer warmth, causing ice sheets to retreat. Sometimes they receive less, allowing ice to spread. The continents respond by cooling or warming, shifting climates and guiding ecosystems into new patterns. This quiet dance between continents and climate has repeated again and again through Earth's history. Forests have spread and retreated. Grasslands have appeared and vanished. Deserts have expanded, then shrunk into fertile plains. Even coastlines have changed as sea levels rose and fell with the growth and melting of ice. Now drift toward the coasts once more, where land meets ocean in an endless exchange. Imagine waves gently touching the shore, tides rising and falling, and currents flowing along the edge of each continent. These currents play a profound role in shaping climate. The Gulf Stream warms Europe. The Kuroshio Current warms Japan. The Humboldt Current cools Western South America, supporting rich marine life. These currents exist because continents guide them, steering warm and cold water along predictable paths. As you breathe softly, imagine following one of these currents around an entire continent. You drift along its edge, feeling the slow push of water, watching forests, deserts, and plains pass beneath you. The warmth or coolness of the current shapes coastal winds, which shape clouds, which shape rains, which shed the vegetation that covers the land. Everything is connected in a quiet, gentle loop. Let your mind settle now into the idea of continental connectivity through life. Even though continents drift apart over millions of years, life has always found ways to cross between them. Seeds carried by wind or water, birds migrating between distant coasts, marine life drifting on currents. Even in the age before humans appeared, animals and plants carried the imprint of continental shapes. When land bridges connected continents, species traveled freely. When seas rose and separated them, species diverged, adapting to their new, isolated worlds. Picture the great migrations of the past. Herds of mammoths and bison crossing the grasslands of Eurasia and North America when the Bering Land Bridge connected them. Early humans walking out of Africa into the Middle East, then across Europe, Asia, and eventually into the Americas. These pathways existed because continents shifted, sea levels changed, and climates created corridors of movement. Now drift gently across the edges of continents where tectonic activity is strongest, places where Earth's deep forces show themselves in subtle or powerful ways. Along the margins of the Pacific, known as the Ring of Fire, you can feel the quiet tension of plates moving beneath you. Volcanoes rise, earthquakes ripple through the crust, islands emerge or collapse. These regions remind us that continents are not rigid shapes, but parts of a living system that continues to change. Let yourself float now above the mid-Atlantic ridge, a long underwater mountain chain that stretches from the Arctic to the Southern Ocean. Here, new crust forms continually, pushing the continents apart. Imagine magma rising from the mantle, cooling and becoming new rock that adds to the ocean floor. Over millions of years, this slow creation of crust widens the Atlantic, guiding the continents toward new positions in the far future. Turn your attention now toward the quiet interior of continents, far from the active edges. These regions feel stable and peaceful, untouched by earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Yet they hold long histories of ancient forces. Mountain ranges once existed here, long eroded into gentle plains. Oceans once covered these areas, leaving behind fossils of marine life beneath fields and forests. Rivers once carved paths that no longer exist. Even the calmest landscapes hold deep memories etched in the rocks beneath the soil. As you drift deeper into this calm state, imagine the continents not as temporary features, but as companions to the Earth's long history. They have existed in various forms for billions of years. They have drifted across the globe many times, merged into supercontinents, broken apart, collided, and reshaped themselves. They have guided the evolution of life, influenced the climate, and created the environments that support everything that grows, walks, swims, or flies. In this slow, steady movement, there is a gentle wisdom. The continents do not rush. They do not struggle. They simply drift, carried by the slow currents beneath them. Mountains rise and mountains fall. Oceans open and oceans close. Forests grow, deserts expand, and rivers carve new paths. All of it happens in calm, patient cycles. Now imagine drifting once more into the soft darkness above the Earth, watching the continents glow faintly under starlight. Their edges shimmer where cities trace coastlines. Their interiors lie quiet and dark, vast and ancient. The world appears peaceful from here, balanced and complete, floating through space with a steady rhythm. Allow yourself to settle into this stillness, feeling the quiet stability of the continents, the softness of their slow drift, and the calm promise of their ancient journey. The land beneath you is steady, enduring, and infinitely patient, carrying the quiet story of Earth through ages of time. Imagine now that you drift slowly toward the continents with a deeper sense of familiarity, as if you've wandered these landscapes for lifetimes. The world beneath you feels steady and ancient, yet alive with slow change. Each continent holds layers of history, geological, biological, climatic, woven together into stories that stretch across billions of years. And as you glide deeper into this understanding, the continents begin to feel less like static pieces of land, and more like living chapters in Earth's long, unfolding tale. Let yourself begin with the quiet idea that continents breathe. Not in the way that living creatures do, but in long, rhythmic cycles that span ages. Mountains rise as plates collide, then erode and settle into basins. Oceans open as continents drift apart, then close again as they converge. Ice advances, then retreats, Forests expand, then give way to grasslands. Each continent inhales and exhales through these timeless patterns, shaping and reshaping the world. Move now across the ancient roots of the continents, the cratons. These old pieces of crust anchor nearly every landmass on Earth. They formed when the planet was still young, cooling from its molten beginning, and they survived countless collisions, volcanic events, and erosional cycles. The Kopfel Craton of southern Africa, the Pilbara Craton of Western Australia, the Canadian Shield, the Amazonian Craton, each one is like a deep, silent memory written in stone. Drift over them gently, feeling the stillness of landscapes that have endured almost unchanged for billions of years. From these ancient cores, drift toward the younger and more dynamic edges of continents, places where tectonic activity shapes the terrain with a quieter but persistent energy. Along the western edge of North and South America, the land rises sharply into mountains created by subduction. Volcanoes line the horizon. Valleys stretch in long, narrow arcs, and deep trenches lie just offshore, where oceanic plates sink beneath the continents. These are the restless margins, always shifting, always reshaping themselves. Now glide toward the wide interiors of continents, far from active boundaries. Here the land seems peaceful and steady. Plains stretch for thousands of kilometers. Ancient seas once covered these regions, leaving behind layers of sediments that turned into limestone, sandstone, and shale. Fossils lie quietly beneath the soil, shells of marine creatures, bones of ancient animals, impressions of plants that once thrived under different climates. These calm interiors remind you that every continent has been many landscapes over time. Ocean floor, swamp, forest, desert, each reshaped by long cycles of motion. Let yourself drift toward the forests of the world again, but this time, notice how deeply linked they are to the continents beneath them. The Amazon rainforest, vast and humid, spreads across a basin created by the gentle tilt of the continent, guiding water from the Andes toward the Atlantic. Central Africa's rainforests sit atop some of Earth's most stable crust, allowing dense vegetation to thrive for millions of years. The forests of Southeast Asia grow along volcanic arcs and uplifted terrains shaped by countless collisions. Even the great boreal forests of the north sit on land once pressed down by ice sheets, their soils formed from glacial deposits. Forests, like continents, are shaped by deep time. Their roots reach into ancient soils, their leaves respond to distant oceans, their seeds carried by winds shaped by mountains formed long before human memory. Now drift downward into the grasslands, the wide savannas, steppes, pampas, and prairies that cover huge parts of the continents. These landscapes often form where rainfall is moderate, not enough for forests, but too much for deserts. Their existence is tied to the positions of continents under global wind patterns. The prairies of North America stretch where moist air from the Gulf meets dry air from the west. The steppes of Eurasia expand across vast flat regions between mountain ranges. The pampas of South America grow where fertile soils, carried from the Andes, settled across open plains. The savannas of Africa flourish where seasonal rains arrive reliably each year, guided by the movement of the equatorial sun. Grasslands breathe with the continents, shifting with climate, expanding during dry ages, retreating during wetter times. They hold their own quiet beauty, shaped by the deep rhythms of the earth. Now glide toward the deserts once more, but this time follow their subtle edges. Deserts often sit in rain shadows, dry regions behind tall mountains that steal moisture from the air. The Atacama lies in the shadow of the Andes. Central Asia's deserts lie behind the Himalayas. The Great Basin of North America sits behind the Sierra Nevada. These dry regions formed because continents lifted mountains along their edges, forcing air to rise, cool, condense, and release its moisture before passing over the peaks. Deserts also form under descending air currents, created by global atmospheric patterns. Because of the Earth's rotation and the heating near the equator, giant atmospheric cells push dry air down around 30 degrees north and south of the equator. These dry belts align with the Sahara, Arabian, Kalahari, Australian deserts, and parts of the southwestern United States. The continents shape the winds, and the winds shape the continents. Let your awareness move now into the frozen regions of the world. The Arctic lies at the top of the planet, surrounded by continents North America, Europe, and Asia. The ice here forms and melts seasonally, influenced by the surrounding land. But the Antarctic sits alone, a continent entirely covered in ice, isolated by strong circular winds and currents. Its ice sheets are so thick and heavy that the land beneath them has been pressed downward. If the ice melted, the continent would slowly rise, just as northern lands continue to rise after the last ice age. These frozen regions help set the temperature of the entire planet. Ice reflects sunlight back into space, cooling the Earth. Darker surfaces absorb heat. As continents move into or out of polar positions over millions of years, the planet's climate shifts. Antarctica was once a green, forested land when it sat further north. The Arctic supported rich ecosystems during warmer ages. The frozen landscapes we see today are part of a long, slow cycle, guided by the movement of the continents. Now drift once more beneath the surface, into the crust and the mantle below. Though hidden from view, this deep interior is the engine that moves the continents. The crust, thin, brittle, familiar, floats on the mantle, which, though solid, flows slowly like warm wax over long periods of time. Heat from the Earth's core rises upward, creating convection currents that move the plates. Hot plumes rise in some places, forming volcanic hotspots. Cooler, denser crust sinks in others, pulling the plates along. Imagine the mantle's slow patterns swirling gently, lifting continents here, lowering them there, always in motion, yet never rushed. This deep motion is steady and patient, shaping everything above it. Let yourself rise once more to the surface, into the landscapes shaped by this deep motion. Continental shelves extend from the shorelines, submerged under shallow seas. These shelves were once dry land during ice ages, when sea levels were much lower. Ancient river valleys now lie beneath the waves. Forests once grew where fish now swim. As the continents move and sea levels rise and fall, shorelines advance and retreat, creating new bays, new islands, and new deltas. Islands formed by volcanic activity sit at the edges of continents or far from them, like Hawaii, rising from hotspots in the mantle. These islands create pockets of evolution, where life adapts uniquely to the isolation. Birds lose the ability to fly. Plants evolve new defenses. Insects grow into shapes seen nowhere else on Earth. The continents are constantly forming new worlds in miniature, each with its own landscapes, climates, and delicate balance. Now drift into the future in your mind, imagining how the continents will continue their slow motion. Africa will continue pressing into Europe, lifting new mountains. Australia will edge into Southeast Asia. The Pacific will shrink as oceanic crust sinks beneath surrounding continents. New chains of volcanoes will rise. Old ones will fade. The world will shift quietly into new shapes, continents rearranged, oceans redefined, climates transformed. These changes will unfold over millions of years, far beyond any human timeline. But in their slow rhythm, They remind us that Earth is not a fixed world, but a living, breathing planet, always moving, always reshaping itself. Imagine now gliding above the Earth at night, watching the continents illuminated by faint starlight. The edges shimmer faintly where coastlines meet the sea. Mountain ranges cast soft shadows. Deserts glow with a pale stillness. Forests appear as vast dark blankets stretching across the land. The world looks peaceful, quiet, timeless. Let yourself sink deeper into this calm view, feeling the continents beneath you like ancient companions. They have drifted together and apart. They have carried oceans, forests, deserts, mountains, and life through countless cycles. And through all of it, they have remained steady in their slow, gentle journey. The continents carry the memory of the Earth. They hold the stories of ancient seas, vanished forests, forgotten mountains, and long-lost creatures. They are the shape of the world beneath your feet, the foundation of every landscape, the quiet stage on which all life unfolds. And as you drift in this soft, peaceful state, you can feel the deep stability of the continents, their slow drift, their patient strength, and the comforting certainty of a planet that has been changing for billions of years, yet always finding balance, always returning to calm. Imagine now that you sink gently toward the continents once more, as if drifting through a long, quiet dream of Earth's history. The land beneath your feet feels familiar, yet every detail holds a deeper story. Each plain, each mountain, each forest and shoreline has been shaped by millions of years of motion, climate, erosion, and quiet change. As you glide over these landscapes, you begin to sense how every part of a continent is connected to the whole, held together by cycles that move at the pace of deep time. Let yourself drift first toward the rivers that carve the continents, those long, winding pathways that gather water, sediment, and memory from the mountains to the sea. Imagine following the Amazon from its origins high in the Andes, where snowmelt forms small streams that combine into powerful currents. The river flows through dense forest, carrying sediments that will build new lands along its delta. Every bend, every meander, traces the shape of the continent beneath it. Rivers are sculptors, patient and persistent, carving canyons, cutting valleys, and nourishing the regions they cross. Now imagine drifting along the Nile, a river that flows north through deserts that would otherwise remain silent and empty. Ancient civilizations grew along its banks, supported by the gentle rhythm of seasonal floods. The land's shape, the climate, and the continent itself created the conditions for life to flourish. Every river carries within it the echo of the continent from which it came. Move now toward the great lakes of the world, vast bodies of water shaped by geology and climate. Lake Baikal in Siberia lies in an ancient rift, a crack in the continent that has opened slowly over millions of years. It is the deepest lake on Earth, holding more water than any other. The Great Lakes of North America formed when glaciers melted, filling basins carved into the land by ice. Lake Victoria in Africa rests in a shallow depression created by tectonic uplift. Lakes, like continents, are shaped by deep processes, each with its own quiet origin story. Now drift over the coastlines once more, those delicate edges between land and sea. Coastlines form where continents meet the ocean's steady rhythms. Waves shape cliffs, tides sweep across bays, currents deposit sand along beaches. Over long ages, coastlines advance and retreat, responding to rising seas, falling seas, and the slow sinking or rising of the land. In some places, continents slowly uplift through tectonic forces, revealing ancient terraces high above the modern sea. In others, land sinks as sediments accumulate or as plates shift, letting the ocean advance inland. Imagine drifting along the jagged coast of Norway, where fjords cut deep into the continent, formed by glaciers that once carved through the mountains. Then picture the soft, sandy shores of Australia, shaped by gentle waves and long stretches of calm water. Each coastline reflects the temperament of the continent itself, shaped by its history, its climate, and the silent forces beneath the waves. Let your awareness drift toward the idea of continental resilience, how land endures despite constant change. Mountains rise and fall, yet some endure as remnants of ancient forces. Deserts expand and contract, yet leave behind fossils of long-lost lakes and forests. Forests spread across warm continents, then retreat during colder ages, leaving behind layers of soil and ancient pollen. Every continent carries layers upon layers of these quiet memories. Now imagine drifting into the deep interiors once more, into underground chambers where minerals form over millions of years. Gold deposits in South Africa, diamonds in ancient cratons, copper in volcanic regions, iron in old sedimentary layers, each formed through a unique combination of heat, pressure, water, and time. Continents hold these minerals not as random treasures, but as products of deep geological processes. They formed when oceans evaporated, when volcanic fluids cooled, when mountains compressed sediments, when ancient rocks metamorphosed under pressure. Even the minerals beneath our feet are shaped by the slow drift of continents. Drift now into the caverns hidden beneath many continents. Limestone caves form when rainwater dissolves ancient seabed rock, creating passages, chambers, and underground rivers. Stalactites and stalagmites grow one drop at a time, forming delicate structures that take thousands of years to appear. These quiet spaces hold the breath of the continent, cool, still, and timeless. Now imagine rising gently into the world of plateaus, those broad, elevated regions shaped by uplift without sharp peaks. The Tibetan Plateau, the highest and largest in the world, formed when India collided with Asia. Its vast surface influences global climate, guiding wind patterns and monsoon cycles. The Colorado Plateau in North America holds the Grand Canyon, carved patiently by the Colorado River through layers of rock that record hundreds of millions of years. Plateaus, though flat and calm, are among the most powerful expressions of continental motion. Let your mind drift next toward the deep canyons carved into continents. These immense cuts reveal the history of the land in layers of color and stone. The Grand Canyon exposes 2 billion years of Earth's past, from ancient volcanic rock at its base to younger layers near the top. The Fish River Canyon in Namibia and the Colca Canyon in Peru tell similar stories. These deep scars are shaped by rivers, uplift, and erosion, working together over unimaginable spans of time. Now let your awareness drift into the fertile valleys that lie between mountains. These lowlands often form where rivers deposit rich sediments washed down from highlands. The Nile Valley, the Indus Valley, the Mississippi Basin, each became cradles of human settlement because the continents shaped them into welcoming places. Mountains channel water into these regions, winds bring rainfall, and the land responds with abundance. As you drift deeper into this peaceful state, imagine the continents not just as places, but as storytellers. Each one holds its own ancient tale. Africa, with its stable cratons and deep human history. Asia, vast and diverse, shaped by immense collisions and towering mountains. Europe, a mosaic of landscapes shaped by ice, uplift, and the warm influence of the Atlantic. North America, with its ancient shield and dramatic mountain arcs. South America, alive with rainforests, high plateaus, and long volcanic chains. Australia, isolated and ancient, shaped by deep weathering and unique life. Antarctica, quiet and frozen, holding secrets beneath its ice. Each continent has drifted, collided, changed, and endured. Each one is part of a long, slow, steady journey. Now imagine drifting upward once more, seeing the entire world spread beneath you. The continents form patterns that seem familiar, yet full of subtle detail. The curved outline of Africa, the sweeping arc of South America, the wide expanse of Asia, the island continent of Australia, the frozen circle of Antarctica, the layered shapes of Europe and North America. Each contour has been shaped by time, by erosion, by collisions, by ancient seas. Let yourself float in this quiet view, feeling the calm certainty of the continents beneath you. They drift, but they do not hurry. They evolve, but they never rush. They shape life and are shaped by it. They hold the memory of Earth and the potential of its future. And as you breathe softly, you can feel their quiet strength, their deep presence, their gentle, timeless motion. Imagine now that you drift even deeper into the quiet story of the continents, letting their long rhythms settle into your mind like soft waves. The world beneath you has been shaped not only by tectonic forces and climate, but also by the quiet work of time itself. Over billions of years, the continents have carried mountains and seas, forests and deserts, creatures and climates, through cycles that repeat with a gentle patience. As you float above them, you begin to sense the subtle harmony in their movements. Let your awareness glide toward the ancient supercontinent cycles once more, but now with a different understanding. Earth has experienced several rounds of merging and separation. Each supercontinent formed slowly as drifting plates gradually converged, and each eventually broke apart, split by rising magma and shifting currents in the mantle. These cycles may span hundreds of millions of years, but together they create a quiet, predictable pattern, a heartbeat beneath the planet. Imagine one of the earliest supercontinents, perhaps Columbia or Nuna, forming nearly 2 billion years ago. Its shape was nothing like the continents you know today. Vast regions that are now oceans lay high and dry, while areas now covered by forests rested under shallow seas. Over tens of millions of years, this supercontinent fragmented, its pieces drifting apart, creating new coastlines, new oceans, and new climates. Then picture Rodinia, forming later, around 1 billion years ago. This ancient landmass gathered many continents into one immense cluster. Its interior may have been dry and barren, shielded from ocean winds. Along its coasts, shallow seas nurtured early life. And when Rodinia broke apart, the pieces moved into new positions, influencing Earth's climate in dramatic ways. Some scientists believe this breakup contributed to intense ice ages, when glaciers may have covered much of the planet in bright, reflective ice. Now drift toward Gondwana, a southern supercontinent that included what would become Africa, Antarctica, South America, Australia, and the Indian subcontinent. It existed for hundreds of millions of years, shaping the early evolution of plants and animals. When it eventually broke apart, its fragments drifted into new roles. South America carried the Amazon basin. Australia moved north, giving rise to its unique wildlife. India sped northward into Asia, raising the Himalayas. Each continent carries the imprint of Gondwana in its rocks, its fossils, its identity. And finally, imagine Pangaea, the most recent supercontinent, forming around 250 million years ago. All major landmasses joined into one vast shape. stretching across half the Earth. Its interior was dry and seasonal. Its coasts were long and curved. Early reptiles, ancestors of mammals and dinosaurs, roamed its plains. When Pangaea broke apart, it created the modern continents, sending them drifting toward their current positions. Let yourself drift over these slow cycles, feeling how continents breathe through long ages. They gather and disperse, rise and fall, cool and warm, always in motion. This is the quiet rhythm of Earth, a story written in rock and time. Now glide back toward the surface, imagining the continents at their human scale again. People experience only the tiniest fraction of continental change. Mountains rise too slowly to notice. Coastlines shift on timescales beyond memory. But the continents still guide our lives, shaping climate, guiding rivers, influencing weather, and determining where fertile land or arid deserts form. Imagine walking across one of the great continental interiors, perhaps the Central Plains of North America. Beneath your feet lies sediment once carried from mountains long gone. The land appears silent and still, but its story reaches back through ancient seas, vanished forests, and glacial ages. Every grain of soil is a fragment of something older, weathered from rocks formed far away. Now imagine crossing the Sahara, the wide desert in northern Africa. Beneath the dunes lie old riverbeds, fossils of hippos and crocodiles, remnants of lakes that existed during the continent's greener ages. The Sahara once bloomed with vegetation, supported by monsoon patterns that shifted with Earth's orbital cycles. The desert expands and contracts through long, gentle rhythms, shaped by the tilt of the planet and the heat of the continents. Now drift toward the sweeping plains of Central Asia, where ancient trade routes once crossed between Europe and China. These lands sit far from the sea, giving them a climate shaped by strong winds, large temperature swings, and long winters. Their grasses grow in deep, fertile soils created by glacial dust and countless seasons of wind. Even here, on the true interior of a continent, the quiet work of ancient forces continues. Imagine now drifting along the rocky western edge of South America, where the Andes rise in a long, breathtaking line. Each peak formed through the collision of continents, every valley shaped by glaciers or rivers. High above sea level, the air thins, the temperature cools, and life adapts to these extreme conditions. The continent lifts slowly, rising millimeter by millimeter, shaped by pressures from deep within the Earth. Then drift toward the soft curves of Australia's interior, ancient land that has worn down gently over millions of years. Australia's long isolation allowed its animals to evolve freely, and its landscapes to develop under steady climates. The soil is old, weathered, low in nutrients, yet perfectly suited to the plants that evolved there. The continent feels quiet and warm, shaped by long cycles of drought and rain. Now glide toward Europe, a mosaic of landscapes shaped by ice and ocean. The Alps, young and sharp, rise from the pressure of Africa pushing northward. Scandinavia, carved by glaciers, rises slowly from the weight of ice long gone. The mild climates of Western Europe come from warm ocean currents that wrap around the continent. Europe's varied terrain and moderated climate shaped thousands of years of human history, guided by the land itself. Let your awareness drift south again, toward Antarctica, the frozen continent. Beneath its thick ice sheets lie mountains, lakes, and valleys hidden from view. Ice moves slowly across the land, flowing outward like a frozen river. Layers of snow accumulate one by one, compressing into ancient ice that traps air from long-vanished atmospheres. Antarctica remembers climates no human ever witnessed, storing them quietly in layers of ice. Now drift into the oceans once more, feeling how the continents guide the shape of the sea. Ocean basins form between drifting land masses, expanding and contracting through long cycles. Mid-ocean ridges push continents apart. Trenches draw old crust back into the earth. The positions of continents determine how currents flow, how heat is distributed, and how life spreads across the world. Without continents, the oceans would be one vast, uninterrupted body of water. Instead, they form vast basins, connected yet shaped by land. Let yourself drift along the boundary where continents touch the sea. Some coasts are created by rising seas, others by sinking land. Some are shaped by rivers carrying sediment, others by ice carving deep fjords. Warm currents create lush coastlines filled with vegetation. Cold currents support dry, foggy shores where desert meets the ocean. Each coastline is a delicate balance between land and water, always shifting, always responding to deeper forces. Now imagine drifting into the depth of Earth's interior again, into the mantle that drives continental drift. Here, heat from the core rises gently, creating currents that move the plates. This motion is slow, steady, and constant. Hot poos rise in some places, forming volcanic islands. Cooler crust sinks in others, pulling continents along like slow, floating rafts. The entire system is connected, a single, quiet engine moving the continents across the planet. In this deep, peaceful space, imagine the continents millions of years from now. Africa will continue moving north, eventually colliding with Europe to form new mountains. Australia will join Asia. The Atlantic may stop widening and begin shrinking. A new supercontinent could eventually form, gathering the land into one great mass. These possibilities rest far into the future, but they follow the same slow, reliable patterns that shape the world you know today. Let your breath settle gently as you drift back upward, seeing the modern continents once more. The world looks familiar, yet filled with hidden histories. Every mountain range, every coastline, every river and desert, every plain and forest, all shaped by ancient forces working in harmony. The continents carry the memory of the earth, its stories written in stone, soil, water, and air. Above them, you drift in quiet calm, feeling their steady presence beneath you. They move slowly, peacefully, sharing their long journey with the planet. And as you float in this warm stillness, you can feel the comfort of their ancient stability and the serenity in their timeless drift. Imagine now that you drift even closer to the continents, as if the entire world has slowed its turning, giving you time to notice the quietest details of the land. The continents are vast on a map, but when you move slowly above them, they reveal countless small patterns, textures in rock, curves in riverbeds, gentle tilts of plains, subtle shadows along mountain ridges. Each detail carries the influence of forces that have shaped the earth over ages. Let yourself glide toward the cliffs and escarpments that form the edges of some continents. These sheer faces of rock, thousands of meters high in places, often mark boundaries between ancient, stable land and younger, uplifted regions. The Great Escarpment along southern Africa, the Drakensberg Mountains, the Blue Mountains of Australia, and the Serra do Mar of Brazil all reveal how continents flex and rise over time. These cliffs form when interior land remains firm while edges are lifted or eroded differently. From above, they appear as long, dramatic lines where the continent seems to hold its breath. Now drift toward the great river basins of the world. Each basin collects water from vast stretches of land, shaping the continent like a sculptor. The Amazon basin drains an area larger than Western Europe, capturing rainfall from the Andes and delivering it slowly to the Atlantic. The Congo basin gathers water from deep African forests. The Mississippi Basin spans from the Rockies to the Appalachians, shaping the land into gentle gradients. The Ganges-Brahmaputra Basin carries Himalayan snowmelt across fertile plains. Imagine drifting above these basins at night, the land dark except where rivers reflect moonlight. Their shapes appear like delicate veins, quiet, branching pathways that guide water through the continents. And over millions of years, these rivers carve deep valleys, shift their courses, and create landscapes that slowly, patiently change the world. Let your awareness move now toward the high plateaus sitting between mountain chains. These elevated plains, like the Altiplano of South America, the Deccan Plateau of India, and the Ethiopian highlands, rise thousands of meters above sea level. They form when continents lift unevenly, or when volcanic eruptions spread lava across wide areas that later harden into flat, raised plains. Picture the Altiplano, stretching across Bolivia and Peru, surrounded by towering Andean peaks. Cold winds sweep across it, thin air sharpens the horizon, and lakes mirror the sky. This plateau exists because the continent rose unevenly during the long collision between the Nazca and South American plates. It stands as a reminder of the quiet strength beneath the Earth. Now drift toward the volcanic landscapes that dot many continents. Volcanoes rise where the crust opens, or where plates sink beneath others. Some form broad shield volcanoes with gentle slopes, like those in Hawaii or Iceland. Others form steep stratovolcanoes, like Fuji in Japan or Cotopaxi in Ecuador. Each eruption adds new layers of rock, slowly building land upward. Volcanic soils are rich, allowing forests, farms, and grasslands to thrive. Entire civilizations grew in the shadow of volcanoes, drawn by their fertile land despite the quiet risk. These landscapes are shaped by deep forces, yet support life in abundance. Let your mind drift toward the great fault systems that lie within the continents. These fractures in the crust may stretch for thousands of kilometers, marking places where vast blocks of land have moved past one another. The San Andreas Fault in California, the Great Rift Valley in Africa, the Alpine Fault in New Zealand, all show how continents crack and shift. Movement along these faults may be slow and steady, or sudden and sharp. But over geological time, even small motions reshape entire regions. As you glide deeper into this calm state, imagine the glaciers that once covered large parts of the continents. During the last ice age, massive ice sheets spread across North America, Europe, and Asia. They moved slowly, like frozen rivers, carving valleys, smoothing hills, and carrying boulders across great distances. The shapes of many modern landscapes, lakes, moraines, fjords, drumlins, come from the quiet work of ice. Even long after glaciers retreat, the land keeps their imprint. Now imagine drifting across the continents during warmer ages, when ice retreated, forests spread, and coastlines shifted inward or outward. In some periods, sea levels rose high enough to flood large parts of present-day continents, creating shallow seas filled with marine life. During other ages, sea levels fell so low that enormous coastal plains emerged, connecting islands and revealing land no longer visible today. Picture the shallow seas that once covered central North America, forming warm, tropical waters filled with ancient marine creatures. Imagine the inland seas of Europe, or the chain of lakes that once stretched across East Africa. Continents carry the memory of these vanished waters in fossils, sediments, and the shapes of their basins. Now let your awareness rise slowly along the mountain ranges created by the meeting of continents. The Himalayas, the Alps, the Andes, the Rockies, each formed from the slow folding and breaking of the crust. Mountain building is a process that spans millions of years. It begins when continents or oceanic plates converge, pushing rock upward, creating peaks that may eventually crumble under erosion. Mountains are not permanent structures, but temporary expressions of enormous forces. As you drift along these ranges, imagine the slow, constant erosion that shapes them. Rain, wind, ice, and gravity work together, smoothing peaks and carrying sediment to the lowlands. The material eroded from mountains becomes soil for plains, sand on beaches, silt in river deltas. The continents recycle their own landscapes, shifting material from high places to low places in endless cycles. Let your mind float toward the coastal ecosystems that form where land and water meet. Mangrove forests thrive in warm, sheltered bays, their roots trapping sediment and creating new land. Salt marshes line temperate coasts, filtering water and supporting countless species. Coral reefs grow near tropical shorelines, forming protective barriers that quiet the waves. These ecosystems depend on the shape of the continents, and in return, they shape the land through the slow accumulation of organic and mineral material. Now drift inland, toward the great forests that cover many continents. The Amazon, Congo, and Southeast Asian rainforests form Earth's largest green expanses. The boreal forests of Canada, Russia, and Scandinavia stretch across the northern hemisphere, shaped by cold climates and glacial history. Temperate forests cover much of Europe, China, and eastern North America, thriving where rainfall is steady and seasons gentle. Each forest grows because of the land beneath it, soils created by ancient rock, nutrients brought by rivers, climates shaped by continental position. These forests breathe with the planet, exchanging gases with the atmosphere, influencing rainfall, storing carbon, shaping ecosystems far beyond their borders. Now let yourself drift toward the inland seas and Indo-Arctic basins, places where water drains to no ocean. The Caspian Sea, the Aral Sea, the Great Salt Lake, Lake Eyre in Australia, all lie in depressions shaped by ancient tectonic movements. These basins fill with water from rivers and rain, but because they have no outlet, they evaporate over time, leaving salt and minerals behind. These landscapes are quiet, enclosed, shaped by a delicate balance of climate and geology. As you move gently across the continents, imagine the long-term changes they continue to experience. Africa slowly moving toward Europe, Australia drifting closer to Asia, South America carried westward, the Atlantic widening, the Pacific shrinking. These motions are tiny each year, but across millions of years, they will reshape the world. New mountain ranges will rise. Old ones will erode. Islands will emerge. Oceans will shift. Continents will take on shapes no one alive today will ever witness. Yet the process will remain gentle, steady, familiar to the Earth. Now drift upward once more, seeing the world from above. The continents appear as quiet guardians floating on the blue planet, each with its own character and story. The shapes you recognize today, Africa's broad curve, South America's long sweep, Asia's great width, are temporary arrangements in a long sequence of changing forms. Imagine the world's future coastlines, perhaps narrower in some places, wider in others. Imagine new inland seas forming as land sinks or as ice melts. Imagine old ocean floors rising into new land. These changes will come slowly, almost imperceptibly, in cycles that have shaped the Earth for billions of years. The continents drift, but they carry a deep stability. Their movement is slow enough that life can adapt. Plants follow the rain. Animals follow the land. Forests grow and retreat. Rivers carve new paths. Life responds to the quiet guidance of the continents. Let yourself sink into this calm certainty, knowing that the earth beneath you moves with gentle purpose. The continents hold the past and shape the future through cycles that unfold softly across deep time. As you float in this peaceful state, the world feels wide and calm, ancient and steady, holding you in its quiet, drifting rhythm. Imagine now that you drift even deeper into the quiet breath of the continents, not just as land masses, but as ancient companions that have shaped every moment of Earth's story. As you float above them, their slow motion feels almost comforting, a reminder that even on a planet full of movement, there is a rhythm, a steady, patient rhythm that continues no matter what happens on the surface. Let yourself glide toward the boundaries where continents meet the ocean, where the transition from shallow coastal waters to deep sea reveals the hidden architecture of the Earth. Continental shelves form where land gently slopes beneath the water, wide expanses that support rich marine life and trace the submerged outlines of continents. During the Ice Ages, these shelves were dry land, exposing vast plains that humans and animals once crossed. Now, oceans cover them again, carrying memories beneath quiet waves. Beyond the shelves, the land falls steeply along continental slopes. These underwater cliffs mark the true edge of continents, where the crust transitions from thick, buoyant rock to the thinner, denser crust beneath the oceans. Along these slopes, underwater landslides and sediment flows create the deep channels and fans that stretch across the sea floor. From above, these features are invisible, yet they shape how nutrients move through the oceans, influencing ecosystems that depend on the gentle rise and fall of currents. Now drift back over the continents themselves, toward the regions shaped by repeated glaciations. Picture northern Europe and North America during the last ice age, thick sheets of ice spreading across the land, carving valleys and dragging stones across great distances. As the ice melted, rivers poured into new basins, forming the Great Lakes, shaping Scandinavia's rugged coastline and sculpting the landscapes that now appear calm beneath forests and plains. The continents wear the marks of these ancient freezes, even though the cold has long retreated. Let your attention move toward the deserts and drylands once more, but now with a sense of their long-term evolution. Many deserts existed for millions of years, shifting in size as climates changed, as continents moved, and as mountain ranges rose. The Sahara expanded when monsoon patterns weakened, then shrank during wetter ages when the desert bloomed with life. The deserts of Australia formed after the continent drifted into latitudes where dry winds dominate. The deserts of Central Asia lie in the shadows of the Himalayas, shaped by mountains that block moist air from the south. Deserts are not empty. They are places where silence gathers, where wind shapes dunes into patterns that move with the sun, where the continent reveals its quiet bones beneath the sky. Now drift toward the forests again, imagining how deeply they connect to the continents that support them. The Amazon basin, vast and lush, lies on land shaped by gentle uplift and slow subsidence, forming a low, warm basin perfect for dense vegetation. The Congo basin carries similar depth, older, but no less alive. The forests of Southeast Asia cling to volcanic soils, nourished by eruptions long past. The vast boreal forests of the north grew on land pressed down by ice, then released. Forests reflect the continents beneath them, responding to the nutrients in the soil, the wind patterns shaped by mountains, and the humidity guided by coastlines. Their roots reach into geology. Their branches reach into climate. Their presence is not random, but part of the continent's long story. Now imagine drifting toward the tectonic seams where continents come together. Subduction zones, collision zones, transform boundaries, each one a place where the Earth reveals its power gently over vast time. In South America, the Nazca Plate descends beneath the continent, raising the Andes. In Asia, India presses into Eurasia, lifting the Himalayas. In Eastern Africa, the continent is splitting apart, forming the Great Rift Valley. These regions are not chaotic, but beautifully slow, reshaping landscapes in ways that feel almost peaceful when viewed across millions of years. Let yourself drift along one of these rift valleys, perhaps in Eastern Africa. Here, the continent stretches and thins, creating long chains of lakes, some among the deepest on Earth. Volcanic peaks rise along the rift, fed by magma moving through cracks in the crust. Someday, far in the future, the land may split entirely, forming a new ocean. But for now, the rift simply breathes, expanding gently beneath the sky. Now glide toward the deep interior of the continents again, where old rocks hold the echo of ancient oceans and vanished mountains. These interiors are often the calmest regions on Earth, far from earthquakes and volcanoes, built on cratons that have endured since near the beginning of geological time. The Canadian Shield, the Baltic Shield, the Australian Cratons. Each is a quiet giant, stable and unmoving, even as continents around them shift. These ancient regions are reminders that while continents move, parts of them remain deeply rooted, surviving billions of years of change, almost untouched. They are the anchors of the world. Let your awareness drift toward the mineral-rich belts that thread through the continents. Gold forms where ancient hydrothermal fluids cooled. Diamonds rise slowly from deep mantle sources. Copper, iron, and rare minerals gather where volcanic and tectonic processes refine the Earth's elements. Continents carry these treasures not by accident, but because of the slow, steady cycling of heat, water, pressure, and time. Drift now toward the great deltas that form where rivers meet the sea. The Nile Delta, the Mekong Delta, the Mississippi Delta, the Ganges-Brahmaputra Delta. Each one grows where sediment carried from the continent settles gently in shallow waters. These regions support rich ecosystems, shaped by the delicate balance between river flow, sea level, tides, and continental stability. Over thousands of years, deltas shift their channels, grow outward, or sink gently as sediments compact. They are living extensions of the continents, created grain by grain. Let yourself drift toward the human layer of the continents, not as history, but as a soft whisper of how humans have interacted with the land. Cities rise along rivers and coastlines, shaped by the geography beneath them. Civilizations grew where fertile soils, fresh water, and gentle climates converged. Even the simplest human choices, paths walked, crops planted, homes built, reflect the quiet guidance of the continents. People follow the land's natural contours without even realizing it, moving where the earth allows, settling where it nurtures. Yet the continents themselves remain silent, unchanged in their patience. Now drift higher again, until the world comes into view as a whole. The shapes of the continents, familiar curves, long peninsulas, sweeping basins, stand out against the deep blue of the oceans. You can see Africa's balanced shape across the equator, South America's gentle taper, North America's broad shoulders, Europe's intricate coastline, Asia's immense breadth, Australia's compact outline, Antarctica's frozen circle. Now imagine the continents slowly shifting forward in time, not rushing, simply continuing their drift. Africa moving north, Australia docking with Asia, the Americas migrating west, ice moving across Antarctica, forests shifting with climate, rivers carving deeper paths. The world changing so slowly that no single moment feels different, yet across ages, the shapes transform. This is the quiet truth of the continents. They are never still. They drift in a soft, steady dance, guided by forces deep beneath the surface. And yet, in their slow, patient motion, they create stability for life. Continents move gently enough for ecosystems to adapt, allowing forests to regrow, species to migrate, and climates to shift in small steps. Let yourself rest inside this understanding that the continents move, but they do not hurry. They change, but not abruptly. They breathe through cycles, but always return to balance. Even when mountains rise or oceans form, the processes unfold with calm purpose. Imagine now drifting across the night side of the Earth, the continents dimly outlined by starlight. Cities glow like tiny constellations along coasts and rivers. Forests appear as dark, quiet expanses. Mountains cast faint shadows. Deserts look pale and smooth. The world feels serene, unhurried, and ancient. You are floating above land that has wandered across the planet for billions of years, land that will continue its journey long after today. Though the continents shift, their pace is gentle, their motion soothing, their presence steady. In this peaceful moment, you can feel the deep calm of the Earth itself. The continents beneath you move like slow breaths, guiding the planet through ages with quiet strength. And as you drift in this soft stillness, let the ancient drifting world offer its calm to you, steady, patient, and endlessly serene. Imagine now that you drift into the quietest part of this journey, the place where the continents become less like shapes on a map and more like gentle presences resting beneath the night sky. You've followed their long stories across deep time, their drifting paths, their mountains and valleys, their forests and deserts, their memories of ancient seas and vanished worlds. And now, as you settle into this final part of the journey, the continents begin to fade softly into the background, becoming a calm, steady foundation beneath your drifting thoughts. Let yourself float above the Earth once more, high enough that the continents blend together into sweeping tones of greens, browns, golds, and soft whites. The oceans curve gently around them, deep blue and endless, holding the planet in a quiet embrace. Thin clouds drift across the atmosphere like slow-moving brushstrokes, glowing faintly in starlight. Everything becomes simple from up here, peaceful, balanced. As you drift, imagine the continents breathing in slow cycles across ages, mountains rising with quiet purpose, valleys deepening grain by grain, rivers adjusting their paths over centuries, forests expanding after long rains, retreating during dry ages, ice sheets growing in colder times, melting back when warmth returns. The continents are not rigid, not fixed. They are patient expressions of a planet always finding equilibrium. Now begin to drift downward, very slowly, toward one of the continents. Choose any one. It doesn't matter which. From above, they all hold the same ancient calm. As you descend, details appear softly. Coastlines take shape. Rivers unwind through plains. Mountain chains emerge like long shadows. Everything comes into gentle focus, but without sharpness, without urgency, just soft edges and quiet forms. Feel the openness of the landscape beneath you. Feel the age in its stones. Feel the peace in its slow, steady rhythms. Every grain of sand, every pebble, every leaf has followed the pace set by the continents. Slow, natural, patient. Now drift across a coastline where waves brush against the land in endless rhythm. The ocean moves with a calm constancy, smoothing the edges of continents over millions of years. In this serene moment, imagine a wave's lifetime, rising, falling, returning, repeating. Small motions that, over unimaginable ages, shape cliffs, carve bays, and sculpt the borders between land and sea. The continent receives each wave with quiet acceptance, knowing that the change it brings is gentle, steady, and part of its long journey. Let yourself drift inland, toward rolling hills shaped by the soft work of rain and wind. These hills were once mountains, tall and jagged, long ago in times so distant they barely feel real. But erosion smoothed their peaks, softened their slopes, and carried their fragments downstream. You glide above them now, sensing their calm familiarity, landscapes that do not rush, landscapes that do not demand attention, landscapes that simply exist, slow and content. Now drift toward a vast plain, a wide open space where the horizon stretches softly into the distance. The plain may have been a sea once, filled with warm, shallow water and life that no longer exists. Or it may have been a desert, swept by powerful winds. Or a forest, shaded by tall trees that thrived in ancient climates. These memories linger in the soil, but the plain itself remains calm, stable, unhurried. It accepts whatever climate arrives. It adapts. It waits. It continues. Let your awareness drift toward a single mountain rising from the plain. It could be a volcanic peak or the last remnant of a long-vanished range. From above, the mountain is quiet, patient, balanced against the sky. Its slopes were shaped by snowfall and sunlight, by frost and thaw, by countless seasons moving across its surface like slow breaths. The mountain is a monument to time's gentle work. As you drift lower, imagine touching the summit lightly, feeling the ancient stone beneath you. This stone may be millions, or even billions, of years old. It has survived collisions of continents, oceans forming and closing, ice advancing and retreating. It has endured everything Earth has experienced, and will continue to endure as the continents keep drifting through ages far beyond this moment. The mountain's stillness becomes your stillness. Its patience becomes your patience. Now drift into a forest, quiet and dark beneath a starlit canopy. Forests absorb the deep rhythms of the planet. Each tree grows slowly, guided by light, soil, and water. The forest floor is layered with centuries of fallen leaves, each one returned gently to the earth. Beneath the ground, roots connect the trees into a subtle network, sharing nutrients, guiding growth, supporting stability. The forest echoes the continent's calm, its cycles of growth and rest, abundance and return. You can feel this gentle harmony in the air, warm, steady, and soft. Move deeper into the forest until you reach a river flowing between the trees. The river moves slowly, sometimes barely making a sound, sometimes whispering softly as it passes stones and fallen branches. Its journey reflects the path of the continent beneath it. It erodes the land with infinite patience, carving away millimeters at a time, shaping the world in ways no single moment reveals. The river does not hurry. It simply flows. And as you drift above it, you feel yourself flowing too, easing into a state of deeper calm. Now drift back toward the open sky, where the continents appear as vast silhouettes beneath you. Night spreads across half the world, city lights glowing quietly along coastlines and plains. The other half rests under sunlight, warm and golden, illuminating mountains, deserts, and fields. The earth rotates gently, slowly, predictably, like a cradle rocking through time. Imagine the continents millions of years from now, shifting into new shapes. The Mediterranean becoming land, Australia joining Asia, new mountains rising, old ones fading, ice shifting across poles, forests moving across latitudes. The world changing so slowly that life never feels the shift, never panics, simply adapts to the quiet guidance of the continents. Everything about the continents whispers tranquility. Their motion is slow, their forces gentle, their transformations natural. And in this stillness, you can find your own calm. Now begin to drift downward once more, toward a landscape that feels warm and safe. It might be a sheltered valley, a quiet shoreline, a wide plain, or a shaded forest. Any landscape shaped by ancient forces holds comfort because it has existed in some form for ages beyond imagination. It has endured storms and cold seasons, droughts and floods, and has always returned to balance. You settle into this landscape, feeling its deep, steady presence. The ground beneath you feels solid, secure, timeless. It carries the memory of the earth itself. It holds the calm of billions of years. And as you rest here, that calm begins to flow gently into you. Your breathing slows. Your body loosens. Your thoughts drift like soft clouds across a still sky. Now imagine lying on this land, feeling its slow heartbeat beneath you. The continents rest on the mantle, floating like quiet vessels on a deep, warm sea. Their drift is soft, unhurried, measured in tiny distances each year. The Earth supports them without effort, just as it supports you now. You are safe here, held by a planet that has moved calmly through the universe for billions of years. Let each breath mirror the drift of the continents. Slow, gentle, patient. Let each exhalation soften your thoughts. Let each inhalation draw in a little more stillness. The land beneath you never rushes. It never forces change. It moves at its own natural pace, and you are drifting with it, peacefully, effortlessly. Now let the continent beneath you darken into evening. The sky deepens into a soft, star-filled night. A few distant winds drift across valleys and coastlines, carrying the scent of forests, oceans, mountains, and open plains. Everything becomes hushed. Everything becomes easy. You can sense the vastness of the world, yet it feels small enough to cradle you. You can sense the ancientness of the earth, yet it feels close, familiar, comforting. The continents have carried life through every age of the planet, and now, gently, they carry you too, into rest. Let yourself sink a little deeper into the calm beneath your eyelids. Let the thoughts that once felt heavy drift far away. Let the slow, ancient movements of the continents guide you into a place of softness, warmth, and quiet. Feel the earth holding you. Feel the continents supporting you. Feel the deep, slow heartbeat of a planet that has always moved with peace. You are safe here, resting on land that has drifted across oceans, risen into mountains, softened into valleys, and always returned to quiet balance. Let that balance become the rhythm of your breath, slow, steady, gentle. Allow the continents to fade into a soft blur, like distant, warm memories dissolving into the night. Let the world become a quiet shape beneath you, holding you effortlessly, while your thoughts slow, soften, and fall still. There is nothing to change. There is nothing to solve. There is nothing you need to carry into the night. Just drift as the continents drift. Just rest as the earth rests. Just breathe as the world breathes. And as your breath settles into a final rhythm, calm and heavy and warm, you feel yourself beginning to drift into sleep, carried gently by the ancient, patient motion of the continents themselves, drifting, drifting, drifting into deep, peaceful rest.